Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary for Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games. And let's make sure we're live. I am missing something right now. All right. We're going to come back into the picture here. Gotta get my iPad here to make sure that we are live. Which I'm sure we are, but I always want to verify those facts. So here we are. Okay, I think we're live. Yep, we are totally live. All right, so we're live. We're going to do a little something different tonight for adding on to our adventure that we've been doing. Let me get a couple little housekeeping things done first, and then we'll get into it. Big week this week. Had today off, which is nice. And I am also smoking a pork shoulder today, which is great. Okay, looks like we've got all of our housekeeping stuff done now. All right, there we go. Okay, housekeeping stuff is done. And we had a lot of stuff happen this week. So if you didn't see, I put a couple videos out. This week, we had Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins join Darrington Press and Critical Role Productions. That's super important. So they are no longer with Wizards of the Coast. And, yeah, so Wizards of the Coast is losing too. And then we saw Todd Kenreck got laid off. I also saw let me see if I can find this here. I also saw a article. Let's see, we want to go to Google and Hasbro, and we want to go to Hasbro News because that's the most important thing. Tools. Yeah, here we are. Hasbro, hopefully the Wall Street Journal is not going to cut me off like it always does. It's going to here in a second. Here we are right here. Okay. Hasbro trims 3% of the workforce in a cost-cutting push. And this came out the same day that Todd Kendrick was laid off. So you'll see here, this was June 17th, so that was 2 days ago, and we got the news that he was laid off 2 days ago. So I am sure that he was part of that layoff as well. So we had Chris Perkins, Jeremy Crawford joined Critical Role and Critical Role Productions at Darrington Press. I think they're gonna have the same positions they had at Wizards of the Coast. Chris Perkins was in charge of story, and Jeremy Crawford was in charge of rules. So it sounds like they're going to be making some supplements or something for Daggerheart, or maybe some other things that Darrington Press has in the works, and they'll be working on it. And then Jess Lanzio, who is the executive vice president in charge of Dungeons & Dragons for Wizards of the Coast, so she was the top person at Dungeons & Dragons, quit this week as well. So, we had 4 big kind of HR changes within the tabletop role-playing game realm. I also heard that the guy at Darrington Press, let me see if I can find that. It keeps on putting that over there. I don't want that over there. The guy at Darrington Press... Let me see, Darrington Press that like started Darrington Press, doesn't own it obviously, but started it, quit today. I might actually, yeah, I don't see leading designer joins D&D people. Yeah, I don't see it here. All the news that's about Darrington Press and Critical Role is about Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins right now. So I don't see anything in here at all about this guy that left. If any of you in the chat know who that is, let me know. I did see somebody put a video out about it today. All right. So here is what we've got so far. The Crimson Labyrinth of Hal-Khazur, save the world and gain the glory. And we worked on this a little bit. I did a pretty good wrap-up of what we got. We laid the foundation down using ChatGPT that gave me some ideas, and we've gone through with those ideas. And now I've got some background paragraphs written down in here. We're not really going to work on that tonight. What we are going to work on is the area around the labyrinth, and I have to look here. I have ChatGPT brought up here. Here we are, fantasy ideas. Oh, what happened here? Okay, and we're at the bottom here, and I want to see what the realm is, because there's. So when I make a hex crawl there, we're going to put the important things in here that we need to put in here, and then we're going to go from there. And I'm going to be using some Shadowdark rules to fill in the hexes, essentially. Let's see here. Actions, Blood Sentinels, blah, blah, blah. Environment, skill challenge, tactics, Blood Sentinels. The Blood Sentinels of the Crimson Arch. The mission. Dalerenth. Okay, that is what I was looking for. Dalerenth. So we are going to add... so we've got a desert, we've got some mountains, and we have to have a mountain where the Crimson Labyrinth is, and then we need to put the capital city. So let me get into here. We've got our stamp tool, and I want to open the catalog up here, and we want a city. Structures, castles. So we got all our structures here. Buildings. Cities. Here we are. Okay, so we're going to grab... any one of these will do. There's 89. Oh, wow, there's a lot. Okay, so let's grab this one. Are there more than just this one? I don't think. Okay, so we'll put this one. I want to put this one here. Each one of these hexes is going to be 6 miles. So this is an area that is roughly the size of Ohio. And that's where we're going here. Okay. So we got that in there, and then we want to get the mountain where Hal-Khazur is located. So I want to look at the mountains here. What else do we got in here? We got like animals and stone materials and all kinds of great stuff in here. Flat icons, isometric icons. Oh, I could have grabbed one of these. Magic properties, dwarves, Eastern, elves, human, Nordic, orc, desert. Okay, this is brown hills, brown mountains, arid mountains, brown mountains. What's this one? Broken, jagged rocks. Let's go with arid mountains. So we're going to create And I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. Where's the size here? There's usually, oh, there it is, stamp scale. There it is. We're going to make this at, because I want it to fit inside of a hex here. So we're going to put, there's going to be a range of mountains over here. And then we're going to have another range of mountains here. And essentially there's going to be a desert in between. And I want to have like a lake and a river near the city. So do we have lakes? Well, I'm going to have to make something. I think I'm going to have to paint that in. Okay. There are so many icons here. There's waterfalls, there's water waves. There really isn't any. That's the one I picked right there. So we could, I mean, there's all kinds of mountains here. Okay, so what's this? Short cliff, ice cliffs. Okay. Let's get out of here. And we are going to do some drawing. So we're going to get the paintbrush out here, and we're going to open the catalog, and we're going to go to, I don't want snow and ice, I want water. Ocean, here we are. Deep blue ice. It's not really ice, though. All right, let's go to fantasy battle maps. This has got some better water stuff in it. Here we are. Okay. That's water. Okay, we don't want it that big. See, that's too big. Okay. So, brush size. There we go. That's what I want. So we're going to make a big lake here. Big lake. And there's the star. I want the star. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. And that'll kind of make it somewhat jagged. Okay. So, and let's do the edges here. And the town is right on the edge of this big lake. And we'll make like an okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. So this is a big like lake slash thing. Okay, so the town is on the lake, and that makes sense because towns normally are on lake areas. And then we're going to make a desert. So I want a desert environment, dirt, sand with stones, yellow sand, beige sand, cracked ground. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So we're going to make this area so we're going to put I want this to be a little bit bigger. We're going to, yeah, okay. So this is all going to be desert. And it's going to be bordered by mountains. And then there's going to be some mountains over here. And this is going to be, what did we call it? What did the Great Library Royal, I think it's the Shattering. It's the Shattering Desert or something like that. I know how to do this. Let's go this way. Desert. Completely spelled that wrong. Shifting desert. All right, so let's go. I know. Maybe I put it in here. No, we didn't put it in here. There was a name here. Desert, 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 desert. Oh, we're almost. Oh, come on. All right, let's go back to the bottom here. It's down here somewhere. Next labyrinth, blah, blah, blah. These are talk about the labyrinth, but we want to know around the labyrinth. The Shattering Desert, I think is what it was called, something like that. Okay. Riches, lands, Crimson Labyrinth, Desert Wall, King, Desert. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Containment, Mental Shard. Oh, come on. This thing went and just spit out so much lore. Sometimes it's a little hard to go through here. Ruby Crown. Scorched Glass Mountains, that's it. Razor-backed cliffs of the Scorched Glass Mountains. So these are going to be the Scorched Glass Mountains, and it'll be the Scorched Glass Desert. That's what it will be. Okay. Scorched Glass Desert. All right, so now we've got a desert. Now we've got everything is okay. So I need to like clone this a bunch of times. So this is pretty easy to do. You just hit the you just hit the. All right, let's save it. I put too many things down at once and it didn't like it, so it's going to make us save it, which is fine. That's just fine. All right, let's see if we got anybody here. All right, we got 5 people. Not too many people are watching tonight. All right, so it's still, let's grab one of these. Copy, paste. And you just copy and paste these all over. Now, the only thing I don't like about Inkarnate is if I want to move the map around, I have to go to this little icon over here, which I really don't like. Okay. These are not the Scorched Glass Mountains, but we got to finish cleaning that up. And is there anything at the top? Okay. And then we're going to paint the edge right here all the way down. And that way we know that we got it. All right. And then I got to move it up again and paint it down. Okay. All right. And then we're going to put some hills in. So I don't want that one. I want Fantasy Regional, I believe. Yes. So we want just hills. Brown Hills. Fantasy World. I think Fantasy World is what we want. So we want hills now. So we'll put some foothills in. Green hills. Arid hills. We'll put some arid hills in here. And there's a whole bunch of different ones, so it'll like, it won't put the same one down. so I can just, you know, hit the button here and it'll put a whole bunch of different ones in, which is fine. So I just want hills all the way out. And I don't want them like that close together. But we want some foothills. Foothills are important. Okay. All right, so we've got foothills. And now we want to put mountains, the scorched glass mountains in. Brown mountains. Arid mountains. Okay, so we're going to put... And there's a bunch of these. See, it changes every time. And these aren't going to go all the way. We'll go out a little bit here. And that should do it. Okay, so that is the scorched glass mountains. And now we want to put in where the... Let's save it real quick. And then we're going to put in where the Crimson Labyrinth is. And that's a really important thing. So we'll put it in where the Crimson Labyrinth is. And then that'll give us our kind of regional points on the map, and then we can go from there. Okay, so we want to open, there's some structures in here. Rock formations. I like some of these mesa things. And then there's some ruins too, so we want to put a rune on here. An anvil fortress, no. Huts, no. Lighthouses, no. Towers, no. Dwarven mine, no. Those are all mines. Ah, here we are, runes. All right, let's see. What do we got here? We got that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. I think we're going to do that one. And we're going to put it right here. And we're going to color it. You can make these a different color. So if I go to advanced settings and I go to hue, you see it changes. It's not really changing it very much. Contrast, I like the contrast. And let's do a shadow. No, we want to do a custom shadow. And we're going to do it red. That's what we want right there. So do it really intense. Okay, that is what we want right there. So there's the labyrinth now. Okay, I want to move this around. Okay, so there's the labyrinth in there. These are the scorched glass mountains. I'm not sure we're gonna, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go to the AI. That's what the AI is here for. Give me the name of mountains that are east of Labyrinth. I spelled that wrong. I keep spelling things wrong. Labyrinth, but west of the Scorch Glass Mountains. Okay, here we go. Let's see what it'll tell us. The Ember Crag Mountains. I don't like that. I don't like that. Give me another name and description. All right. Thunderspire. Nope. Nope. Don't like that either. Try again. Ah, the Veil Shard Peaks. Okay. I like that. Weathered, jagged stretch of mountains. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Okay. We're going to go with that. So, text tool. This is going to be Labyrinth. Okay. That's Labyrinth. We want more text. And these are the Veil Shard Mountains. Okay. And we can turn that. Let's do 270, 270. Okay. And then we can move it. And then we want more text. And these are going to be the Scorch Glass Mountains. Okay, got that. Yep. We're going to put that over here. And we want some more text. Scorch Glass Desert. Okay, but I need to change this to, I think, 0. All right. And we'll move that in here. Okay. And we need the name of the hills and the river. So, that is not what I wanted. That's what I want right there. Oh, would you like a hidden pass, ancient shrine, or cursed ruin within? Well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out. Give me the name of the river flowing to just to the east of the city of Labyrinth. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. The Arulian River. Okay. All right. Arulian River. Oh, okay. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay. Arulian River. Text. Arulian River. Okay. And we need to move this at 270. There we go. And now we can move it. Let's do that. And the lake. Give me the name of the lake at Labyrinth rests on and is connected to the Arulian River. Okay, here we go. Let's see what it comes up with. Here's the name. Lake Vayrun. Okay, we'll take that too. Lake Vayrun. More text. Lake Vayrun. And that needs to be, and we're going to go, okay. Now we can move that. All right. And then the hills. Nope, that is not what I wanted. What is the name of the hills at the western base of the... What are the name of these mountains? Veil Shard Mountains. Veil Shard Mountains. Okay. The Umber Hollow Hills. Okay. Okay, Umber Hollow Hills. And Umber Hollow Hills. And we're going to turn this one absolutely to 270. Yep, and now we can move it. Okay. There we go. All right, so that is, I think, all this. So we got the city of Malith, or Labyrinth. We've got the Arulian River. We've got Lake Veyroon. We've got the Umber Hollow Hills, the Veil Shard Mountains, the Scorched Glass Desert, the Scorched Glass Mountains. We've got, and I'm going to put some text in here for the Crimson Labyrinth of Hal-Khazur. Okay, now this needs to be turned a lot, and it needs to be made a lot. All right, let's see here. That's too big. Can we break this up? We can. And can we make it smaller? We can. All right. So we'll put that right there. Now, the other thing I don't like about this is it doesn't really have shapes that it can make that's great. Like an arrow. It would be nice to have like an arrow. And they're not really here. It's got this, whatever this is, draw straighter curved lines, shape rectangle, nodes, portals, free draw, but it doesn't have like arrows and things that I can do. So I don't like that. Now, here's what we're going to do. Well, let's save this. You always got to save these a lot. So I've got some text in that I'll pull out of ChatGPT about each one of these, like the lake and the river and the hills and the Veil Shard. So let's look at what it told us about each one of these. So we've got all right, so I first asked it about the mountains. Is that the first thing that I asked it? Yes, that's the first thing. And I didn't like that one. I didn't like that one. I did like this one. So this one says, nestled east of Labyrinth and west of the Scorched Glass Mountains, a secluded range known more from whispered legends than reliable maps. Veil Shard Peaks are a weathered, jagged stretch of mountains where the veil between worlds wears thin, and that goes along with the flavor of this adventure, because the Crimson Labyrinth is this tear in the world. So maybe the presence of the Crimson Labyrinth, just on the other side of a dimension, has warped these mountains over, I don't know, decades or hundreds of years. So, all right, so the stone is pale and almost translucent in places, shot through with veins of glass-like crystal said to be remnants of a shattered divine barrier. Okay, so maybe when possibly connected to Malreth's earliest experiments in planar binding. Okay, time and direction are slightly warped in the peaks. Travelers report hiking east and ending up west. Some swear they've heard themselves shouting from behind after speaking aloud. Echoes arrive before the voice, and strange auroras flicker at night, even in the clear weather. Few ruin paths that cross the Veil Shard are covered in old celestial markings and partial sigils, pieces of something large. Okay, some say we're the first place Maelrith pierced reality, and we're going to ignore some of that. All right, and then I said, give me the river. The Arulian River flows just east of the city of Daelrith, carving a wide, glimmering path through the kingdom's fertile eastern lowlands. Its waters are said to run cool and silver even in summer and are highly sacred to local diviners and seers. Many claim that dreams become clearer when spent near its banks. The Arulian has long served as a lifeline and boundary, a source of trade, defense, and prophecy, yes, fed by glacial runoffs from the Thunderspire reaches or whichever mountain range you settle on. So that would be like to the north. And that would be to the north. I have to get used to using this hand instead of this hand because you can't really see this hand. And its name comes from an old Dalaric word meaning river of reflection, tied to mist that its surface once mirrored not the sky but the possible future. Fisher folk speak of silver-scaled river spirits. So this is like all lore that you can give the players when they are getting ready to come and do this adventure. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty cool, pretty happy about that. So then it wants to know if I want a bridge, a ferry, or a fortress. And what did it ask me about? The hidden pass, ancient shrine, or cursed ruin within the Veil Shards? Maybe, we're gonna do some random generation here. And then I asked it for the lake. Lake Veyroon is a deep mist-shrouded lake nestled at the foot of the Veil. No, it's not. It's not. And cradled by ancient forests and cliffs. It's not. The city of Daelrith rises from its western shores. Yes. With stone docks and high piers reaching into its dark waters. Yes. The Arulian River flows gracefully from its northeast edge, sort of eventually winding eastward through. Okay. Legend claims the lake is bottomless and places its deepest trench the site of an ancient starfall or a sealed vault from the Age of Fractures. Some say Maelrith himself. Okay, we're not going to say that. Its waters are usually calm and reflective, said to remember what passes over them. Fog rolls on its surface at dusk. Strange luminous fish called veil lamps are sometimes seen at night, glowing in patterns like written language. Before we go any further, there is one other thing I want to add here, and that is going to be a forest. A forest, so we can add, I'm sure there's trees in here. Oh, you can add giant scorpions, all kinds of stuff. There's got to be trees in here somewhere. These are all stone, dead trees, Christmas stuff. What is this? Autumn? No. Forest. Okay, here we are. What is this? Small bushes. World tree. World tree. I don't want to do like a world tree. World tree. Trees. We got jungle. We got tree. I don't want to do jungle. What is this? These are green hills. And common light green trees. Common green. Let's do some of that. We're going to make these bigger, though. We're going to make these a lot bigger. And we're going to get some other trees. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, that's not too bad. And I want to get some other trees, so we're going to get these trees in here, too. Oh, those are too big. Those are way too big. Okay. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things that come out. Okay. All right, there's a forest. here. We'll just placing little tiny trees everywhere. Okay, that's the forest. And all right, let's go to the chat GPT. There is a forest east of Lake. What is the lake again? There's so many names. Lake Veyron. Veyron. Tell me about it. Go. Absolutely. The Gloamwood lies like a shadow on the eastern rim of Lake Veyron, dense, untouched by time. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, wow. Here we go. Hollow Watcher. Wow, there's so much stuff that this just spits out. All right, we're not the fragment of inlay. Okay, we don't care about that. So this is going to be the Gloamwood. We'll go ahead and call it that here. So the Gloamwood. There we go. Okay. And now we can grab that and put that there. And we're going to save every time we put something out, because I just put like 100 objects in there and we got to save it. Okay. And I want to get back to this. Okay, now is when we're going to do our random stuff. There's one thing I want to roll a D6. Okay. So, this is how we're going to call these out. So this square right here is AC1. And then we're going to go to AC2. So the rules that we're going to use for this, we're going to follow the Overland Hex rules for, this is from Shadowdark. And then I also have Chubby Funsters. And if you don't know this guy, here he is right here. He writes, this is from the GM Companion for Shadowdark. That's Chubby Funster right there. There he is, Chubby Funster. And he writes a bunch of stuff for Shadowdark. And there's just all kinds of great, like, stuff in here as well. So we're going to be using some of Chubby Funster's stuff as well. But now, there's something in here I don't necessarily agree with. He says, create an overland hex map using the circular loop system described on page 132, which is right here. He says, however, we recommend that each hex has a point of interest and a 1 in 20 chance of a dungeon, and I'm not going to do that. That's a lot of stuff. Kelsey Dion from Shadowdark says, to begin an overland hex map, roll or choose a starting terrain. So I'm not doing any of the random terrain stuff. We've already got kind of all the terrain that I really want in here, because I don't like random mountains or volcanoes or whatever. You know, I kind of got the basics on the map already. Really what I want is I want to go to this fourth paragraph here. Each hex, roll a d6. On a 1, the hex has a point of interest. If you roll a cataclysm, use the table below. And here are the points of interest. This can get very redundant. So you roll a location, and then you roll a development to go with that location. Now, there's a lot of stuff that can randomly spit out from this, but like if you get a settlement, you go to the settlement name, and then you can go to the settlement section. But I want to use Chubby Funster's points of interest based off of where we got. So he's got points of interest for Arctic, coast, desert. So that's and again we're gonna roll a location, and then we're gonna roll a development. And then he's got forest, so we can do that. Grasslands, we've got that. And there's no jungle here. He's got mountains, we can do that. River, we can do that. Swamp, We may have a swamp in here. I haven't put that in there yet. And then he's got his terrain hazards here for each one of these different areas, which is awesome. So you roll a 2d6. You roll a d6 and a d6. And then you have one, either movement, damage, or weaken. And pretty cool stuff. And then if you got settlements, you can go from there. All right, so let's go back to here. So for this first hex that we looked at, this one right here, there's nothing. So I'm going to put... do we want to put something in there? I don't want nothing that big. All right, there's nothing there. So now we're going to go to AC2. And we're just going to have it roll another d6. So on a 1, we get something. Roll again. 2. Okay, so there's nothing there. So we put a dot. And now we're at 3. And we're just going to keep doing this. Roll again. 6, so there's nothing there. Put a dot. And we're going to go again. Roll again. One. Okay. That's what we got. Okay, so 4AC is going to have a development of some kind. So this is, AC is what? It is grasslands. We're just going to call it grasslands. So I may put a swamp down here somewhere. Or maybe up here. Like another swamp and a forest up here. Okay, but this is what we got here. So let's go ahead and we've got points of interest. This is not Arctic, it's not coast, it's not desert, it's not forest, it is grassland. So we're going to have it roll a d20. Okay. Roll a d20. 14. Okay, what is 14? 14 is a stone watchtower, and we're going to have it roll again. So let's put a little stone watchtower there. And I've got a open catalog, and oh no, what am I doing? We want the stamp. There we go, open catalog, and we've got a stone tower, and there was a thing in here for towers. I saw it. Human, maybe it was all the way down here. Let's go all the way to the bottom here. So we've got temple theme, mine, market, blah, hell. We don't want hell. I want like a ruined tower. Human tower, ruins. What kind of ruins? Oh, I don't like those. I don't like those at all. Elves. Orc ruin. Isometric icons. Properties. Let's just go with this one. And I think there was a tower in here. Okay. And we need to make this a lot smaller. Okay. That is not the same one we had before. Now, we need to go to a development. So the location is a ruined tower. And I think we're going to write these in here as well. So this was AC4, ruined tower. And we're just going to put these in here for now. And then we're going to roll another d20. And roll again. Okay, 7. Yeah, ChatGPT doesn't know what I'm doing. So, surrounded by shallow, murky ponds. Okay. So, let's put that in there. Describe a ruined tower surrounded by shallow, murky ponds. Okay, here we go. And sure, here's a vivid description. A tower of sullied waters. Okay, and I've got another document here that we can just grab this stuff and copy and paste it into. I've got all of the AI dungeon raw stuff. Here we are. So we're just gonna type this in here. Okay. AC4, and where is that at? The Tower of Sullied Waters. Okay. Got it. And that goes right in there. That's it. Okay. And then we've got, and what's interesting about this, we'll have to go through and we'll have to describe this. Labyrinth of shallow, murky ponds, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What's there? The whole place feels forgotten by time as it was wait. Okay, but there might not be anything there in itself at all. All right, so now we're going to go back to the map. Back to the map here, and we're going to go to AC5. So roll a D6. Go. Nope. Okay. So there's nothing there. And roll a D6. And nothing there. Roll again. Nothing there. Roll again. Nothing there. And so this is the gist of it. It's basically you're going to go through and you're going to roll for every one of these hexes, and you're going to generate a bunch of points of interest. And then it's a sandbox at that point. It's a sandbox with a few very pointed things on it that the players are going to know. There's a town, there's a river, there's a forest, there's some hills, there's a couple mountain ranges, there's a desert, there's the ruins, and so they'll know where all that stuff is, but they won't know necessarily where everything is on the map, and then they can just go. They're going to have a general mission to go to the Crimson Labyrinth of Hal-Khazur, and that's the background of the adventure. But they could go visit all the rest of this stuff on their own time. You could give them. I mean, I would give them a time limit, obviously. But I've got a campaign that I'm running right now. That's Greyhawk Cron Hills, and I made a hex map like this, and it's essentially 2 hexes on the Greyhawk map. And it's about 60 miles wide and about 40 miles long, or 60 miles long and 40 miles wide. And we've been playing for 6 months, and the players still haven't gone through everything in it. And I just did the same thing with this. All right, so let's continue here. So we want to go to that one. Roll again. And, okay, there we go. We got a 1 now. All right, so we're back to this table here. And we want to roll a d20 because this is grasslands, correct? This is grasslands. So roll a d20. And all right, it's another ruin. I don't want. Let's go over to Kelsey Dion's ruin. We got a monster nest. Okay. I don't know what that is, but we're going to call it a monster nest. So which one is this here? This was not AC 9. All right, so we're going to go here, AC 9, monster nest. I don't know what that is. And we're going to roll again for the development. Roll again. So we can switch back and forth from these different tables too if I get the same thing, and that way it won't be something. Abandoned in ruins. Okay, so it's another set of ruins. So let's just put that on there then. Let's put a different set of ruins. There's a different set of ruins. And we're going to put this, so it's a monster nest nestled in ruins. And so let's ask it about it. In Hex AC 9 is a monster nest nestled in some ruins. Tell me about it. Go. Okay, here we go. The ruined nest of Varkal, hidden within a place shunned by locals. The ruins are half swallowed by thorny brambles and twisted. Ooh. Okay. Let's grab all this then. So we're going to go. So we're going to grab this part. And you can see how you can make a gigantic, massive adventure based off of this. And like a whole campaign. And okay. All right. Let's keep going here. Okay. And then we've got AC 10. Roll a D6. Okay, so nothing there. And essentially, it's going to give me something every six squares. Every 6 squares. Roll again. Okay, so we got another thing here. So Hex 11 AC. So we are going to roll on Chubby Funster's table. So roll a D20. Roll a D20. And what do we get? We're going to get a 12. Okay, we haven't gotten a 12 yet. And a 12 is an ancient monument. Okay? So let's write that down. This is Hex AC 12 Ancient Monument. And what's the development at the Ancient Monument? Roll again. Okay, it is a 19. And that is a hazard of normal severity. Okay, so we're going to go to hazards now. And it is a grassland hazard. And so normal challenge rating for party, average level 3-6. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to roll on the table here. So we got grasslands. So now we need to see if it is a, let's see here. It's a D6, so roll a D6. And it got a 3. Okay, so what's a 3 here? A 3 is damage. And roll again. And a 2. Blinding smoke. Okay. Ancient monument. Blinding smoke. Okay. Let's ask. Well, we'll get to that. So we've been on here for an hour. I think we're good for now. We've had quite a few people on. I haven't had anybody chat yet or ask any questions about any of this. So we have got 3 likes. We got a whopping total 11 views. But we're getting through it. This is basically what we're going to do is we're going to build out this hex map before we end up building out the actual adventure. And then I'm going to continue to use ChatGPT to help me flesh out a little bit each one of those points of interest on the hex map. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.